Hey YouTube, how the heck are we doing? It is Foul Play here, and we're back again for some more Pauper action. Picking up where we left off in the previous league, I believe we -1 Ancestral Mask to increase the Armadillo Cloak from 2 to 3. Other than that, usual inclusions of Cartouche, which is good hate against the Karklan Shaman Grixis Affinity deck. Usual Cartouche for Edict decks. Sentinel's Eyes as a little bit of a catch-all because Vigilance is pretty strong, and one of Ram Through as well. So with the sideboard, first time we've changed it in quite some time. So we have actually removed the Red Elemental Blast. I had an inkling that it would be good into the Delver Ninja matchup. I think that inkling was a little bit wrong, so we're just reverting back to Scattershot Archer, which is a bit more of a sure thing. Additionally, we've reduced Blue Elemental Blast for in the red matchup from 3 down to 2. And as well as that, we're bringing in 2 copies of Freewing Falcon to help out with that matchup as a jump blocker, as an attacker. Also as a way to block a creature through Apostle's Blessing, right? Because that card's pretty good at making our creatures pointless. To make room for the second copy of Falcon, we minus from 3 Flaring Pain to 2, which I think should be mostly okay. Other sideboard inclusions, usual Young Wolf and a Return to Nature. Since most of my sideboard is specific, it's good to have a general answer that can come in against a few different archetypes. As we saw in the previous league, we don't have access to Mirror Breaker. So that could be an awkward one if we come up against that. No Standard Bearer for us, no Gut Shot to break it. We're just relying on the Ram Through and some cartouches that can't be targeted. So pretty weak game plan there. We'll take that loss. Hopefully overall though we get a better win percentage. So match number 1, we're up against Alex Fierro. We won the draw and are on the play. This hand could be a little bit slow given the 1 mana source, but we have access to Hexproof Creature and 2 playable auras. I guess 3 if you count the Abundant Growth. So nothing fancy here. Turn 1 guy. Alright, so opponent has the Snow Island there. We could very much potentially be versing the Fairy matchup. This deck does utilize 2 Force Spike. Alright, we just hard resolve the Rancor in that spot. So yeah, obviously 2 Force Spike. We had the option to Abundant Growth and try to roll into land. We chose not to go for that, mostly because if this doesn't resolve, we're in a little bit of trouble. Alright, so here's an interesting spot. If we attack, opponent can block with a Spell Starter Sprite, but we have more Hexproof guys, so it's probably not too bad. Alright, let's see what happens to Rancor here. Counterspell? Okay, so it's actual Counterspell in that spot, which means they probably don't have Spell Starter Sprite in hand, and it looks like they're not even the deck we were presuming they were. Alright, so sort of sucks bricking on land here. Let's play it a little bit reserved and just attack second main. Maybe we can generate some mana or something. See what we can do. Alright, Abundant Growth. Alright, and that one resolves revealing Ethereal Armor. If we can resolve Ethereal next turn, that would be great. That will increase our clock. So opponent's Sorcery Speed Thought Scoured themselves into playing their land drop, 6 cards in hand still. And we got really good aura quality and selection here. We'll throw down Cartouche and start attacking. It could be right to try and resolve the Ethereal Armor into the Pirate 3-mana Sweeper effect. Alright, opponent spreads the token. But, I mean, I sort of expected the counterspell and I wanted to play my worst aura first. Sure. So, opponent has Tolarian Terror, Ward 2, and it's a big chunky 5/5. Alright, we finally hit a land, and yeah, I guess we just keep going. We'll go for the Ethereal Armor here. Opponent doesn't have access to double blue. Could still have a Spell Starter Sprite. He concedes to Ethereal Armor. Alright, so our opponent's deck is Serpentine Curve. So main deck interaction, a little bit of counter magic disruption, some creature things. Fling there, which is interesting. Chunky Tolarian Terror, Augur of Bogles to help them find their spells. So like in the main deck, not too much that we're actually concerned with. In sideboard, they're bringing in a Null. Also, Breath Weapon, maybe the Pirate one, which is the same effect. So that's some pretty handy information. Something like Scattershot Archer is not going to be useful if they don't run Spell Starter Sprite right. Additionally, I don't think we want any graveyard hate. Freewind Falcon seems like a fine card to bring in. I don't even think that we want to remove Silhana Ledgewalker. Maybe we just trim on like Cartouche of Knowledge. Flying seems a little bit redundant as much as like the card advantage is nice. Alright, opponent keeps S7. This is an infinitely better hand than what we had in that first match, so let's go ahead and keep ours as well. Opponent preordains one top, one bottom. Alright, well, we're going to hit our mana this game, so that's fantastic. Opponent holding up one mana there. Alright, and find Utopia Sprawl, so that solves our dilemma of which color to set it on. We do have more white permanents in our deck than blue, so that probably would have been the go right. Alright, so we'll go ahead and Cartouche here. No counterspell from the opponent. And now we can Commune or we can Utopia Sprawl. Let's just Utopia Sprawl. Go for the spicy blue coloring and attack. Alright, opponent with the Fiery Cannonade. No matter how we sequenced our spells, we weren't going to get around that one. So that is the pirate one that I was talking about. Big old shrug. If we hit creature, we're in fine form to reset. We can fire off Commune like early. But then we bottom any creatures that we see, and it's probably not worth it. One card up for the opponent, and yep, alright, we brick. Alright, opponent plays Tolarian Terror. They now have a clock. We are winning the mana race though, right? So if they want to try and mana leak us, we're all magically good. Opponent throwing Firebolt a couple of turns at our face, fire at our previous end step at their face. So they're really going for that race. Creature, not creature. It is, however, potentially useful. So let's go ahead and Abundant Growth. I mean, yeah, okay, deck. So opponent flashback Deep Analysis, Preordain, Scry 2 to the bottom. Interestingly enough, they played Deep Analysis first, so I guess they drew the Preordain off the Deep Analysis. Alright, well, we're on 5 health. Our opponent has 5 cards in hand, and we'll just play this because see no creatures, concede regardless. So I'm not too concerned going into game 3 here. We should be able to buff up our creature's toughness to 3 relatively quickly. The consideration is to perhaps trim out on Rancor, bring back in the Cartouche of Knowledge. Cartouche gives toughness, Rancor doesn't. It's a good play around. Also note, Freewind Falcon has protection from red, so if we have this creature, we don't have to be worried about the Fiery Cannonade. Alright, well, I think we can keep this hand. It's a little bit awkward. We do have turn 2 Silhana Ledgewalker. We're not going to have great mana color fixing though, right? So we find Cartouche land. I think the play is grab Forest here. We already have Cartouche in hand. We want to get to turn 3 being able to play out all our auras if possible. Land is the most helpful one with that. Goodness. Flooding. Maybe I should have taken the Cartouche. Alright, so opponent can have access to Counterspell here. We'll run out the commune, see what they do. We find both Plains and Mask. I think we grab Mask here. Cave has given us access to our colors regardless. We'll filter into white. Otherwise, we're just like way too aura light. It's very likely that our Silhana Ledgewalker will get blown up next turn. And then we're going to have to just hope to reset and fix things on a new creature. But given the fact we get Sentinel's Eyes back and we have good aura quality in hand, should be easy to reset. Freewind Falcon. You love to see it. Alright, first things first, we attack. Alright, cool beans. And opponent doesn't do too much. Play our Falcon. Game plan will be going in on Falcon from now on, if possible. Opponent counterspells. Okay. Alright, opponent upkeep, icing down our permanent. That's really good news. It means we're going to resolve our Ancestral Mask. Assuming no annul. Rats, opponent has the annul. They fog us out. We hit him for 2. Hopefully we get a turn just to do what we need to. Alright, opponent with the sorcery speed, Fiery Cannonade. Lame as heck. Armadillo Cloak joins the party. Alright. And opponent plays Tolarian Terror. Plays Theater, gets land. 4 cards in hand. Ice on my land again. Yeah, go for it, opponent. Draw a pointless aura. Pass. Alright, the deck is cursed. All our 3 mana auras on top. So interesting interaction of when our opponent was tapping down Cave of Temptation. We can't activate it in response because it can only be activated at sorcery speed. Other than that, I think maybe we missequenced our spells. When we played the Falcon, we probably should have played the Ancestral Mask and then looked to Falcon in the following turn after that. Additional to all of that as well, we probably should have mulliganed to a more aggressive hand where we could get points on our creature a little bit quicker. What the heck is this? And it's the Battlefield Monarch 5/2 Trampler. Alright, well, we get one draw, one opportunity, and that's not it. Alright, GG's. We sort of misplayed it a little bit and kept a bad hand. I think overall, though, that should be a good matchup for us. So the punt was not the best. Welcome back for match number 2. We lost the die roll, unkeepable hand, versing Squishman this leg. Well, looks like we're to 5. Opponent keeping a 7, and a little bit envious of him. So we'll throw a forest and ram through. We have some color fixing. We're 1 land off the cloak. Pretty reasonable 5. Alright, Cartouche gives us something to do on turn 2. Alright, so opponent Evolving Wild end stepped into Forest. Opponent has the Modern Age. Draw a card, then discard a card. Exile Saga, return it to the battlefield, transformed under your control, and it's a 2/3 flyer. Alright, so nothing to be too concerned about there. I think this is variation on the deck we just versed, actually. Let's go ahead and resolve a little bit of First Strike. Alright, my opponent just plays Preordain, and the game completely freaked out. Did not know how to load the art to this card. It all glitched and all that. So 2 cards at the bottom. And opponent passes to us. Alright, so that's really nice. Alright, so we'll go ahead. Rancor, see how our opponent responds. Sure. They don't have double blow up, so we should be pretty safe resolving our auras here. It's more damage to resolve them this way than to go for the Armadillo Cloak. So that's what we did. And I should have attacked with the Vigilance token. We missed out on 1 point of damage there. Maybe it was 2. Maybe we missed 2 attacks with the token. Yeah, we have. No, it's one attack. Alright, opponent's Chunky Flyer has flipped. Warrior tokens, less impressive now. We'll see. So we already have Trample. Opponent doesn't even go to our turn. They just concede. We're ahead on the clock. We've got first strike Trample. I guess it's reasonable. Alright, so I didn't see a sideboard for my opponent's deck. I think we can expect similar things to last match. Them boarding in counter magics for enchantments. And also red sweepers. We'll bring back in our Falcons. We'll take out our Rancors. We'll submit. Alright, so we'll keep this hand. We might be losing game 2 here to our opponent. Alright, so it's blue-red Delver. Go ahead, throw down our guy. Oh, Brainstorm on the stack for Delver. Nice. So they guarantee the flip. It's good tech. Lightning Bolt to flip. Snow-covered forest. So potentially they have a null here. Opponent off to the races. Not interested in blocking. Throw Rancor down first. Opponent has Spell Pierce. Alright, sure thing, opponent. We have better auras in hand, so that's fine by me. So probably the most important stat for us to get is First Strike, because we don't have it currently. But we also can't cast any white auras, so I guess we just go for Utopia Sprawl. Attack. Opponent attacking back. We're on 14. Our life total's getting lowish. Opponent misses a land drop. So I think we can probably expect from our opponent for them to have some description of counter magic. I'm going to go ahead and cast Ancestral Mask. I think this is going to get countered by Counterspell. Hopefully then... Spell Pierce, you kidding me? Hopefully then we resolve Armadillo Cloak in a future turn. And that life gain that we're going to get from that is going to be really strong. Cycles Ash Barrens. Okay, great. You'd love to see that. So they could have another copy of Spell Pierce. They could have a null. I think it's unlikely they have Force Spike. Let's just keep them honest. We'll play our Armadillo Cloak. If it resolves, we likely win. If it doesn't, we likely lose. Now, we're not out of the woods. We don't have First Strike. Our opponent can block in future turns. If we resolve one more toughness, we'll be fine though. Alright, end step, opponent Lightning Bolt's face. So we'll ditch that one. Here comes Modern Age again. Discards the Deep Analysis. Attacking in as well. Okay. They want to race us. Unfortunately, we still don't have access to our blue mana. But we do have decent attack here. Second main, we'll run out both our creatures. I think given they're a Delver deck, the likelihood of them having a sweeper effect is a lot less. Alright, so end step, another Lightning Bolt to our face. We go to 8. Alright, this time no attacks from our opponent. Okay, well that's a pretty good one. We'll see if it resolves. 3 cards in hand for the opponent. They can do something... Oh, they can't Deep Analysis in response. That's Sorcery Speed. They can do other draw effects. Oh, and that resolves. That's got to be pretty good for us. Alright, we'll not muck around. We'll attack in. We won't attack wide yet. Alright, so our damage resolves. He plays Frantic Infantry. Drawing a card. Lightning Bolt us. Sure, that's 3 Lightning Bolts down. We're still on 9. Interestingly enough, our opponent kept in Scred. You'd think that that would be one of the cards I'd be sideboarding out. Opponent preordains 2 to the bottom. This thing flips. Insectile Aberration there. Sure. So this seems straightforward. We draw Cave of Temptation. So we'll just go ahead, sack Cave of Temptation, make an even bigger scout. Attack for 7. At this point, we can probably start attacking wide too. And tack on in. Oh, I was 1 point of damage off on the scout there. I thought it was 7. It's only 6. Still, we are attacking for a total of 10. Opponent tapping mana. Opponent plays Breath Weapon there. Wiping off our little guys. They could have done, like, been a bit tricky and, like, blocked with the Flip Delver. And then on the creature, and then flipped, and then cast Breath Weapon and wipe the board. Wouldn't have made a difference though, because we have Trample. We still assign all damage to the opponent. All right, welcome back for match number 5. We won the Darrow versus Jace MTG. This hand looks like it's capable, but it's got 0 castable auras in it, and also no way to fix our mana. So I think we mulligan. Alright, this looks better. We'll go ahead and keep this. We'll bottom 1 dude. Alright, we find Abundant Growth, so that's pretty good. So we'll kick things off by Abundant Growthing over here. Find Cartouche. Cartouche is a nice find. I think we diverge and play the Cartouche to... If this is the Faeries matchup, I want to get past Counter Magic. Oh, they got the Force Spike. Oh, they cycle Ash Barrens, thank goodness. Alright, cool, that's fine. They find Island, we attack for 2. So, I don't want to be attacking into a Spell Starter Sprite. Yeah, without First Strike. That's just a little bit awkward. So, this isn't too bad. We will... Green here, Utopia Sprawl here. White, and then we can just go ahead and try to run out Armadillo Cloak. I don't know if it will resolve or not. There's the counter spell. Alright, in for attacks. Oh, opponent is Dimir. Interesting. I think we have enough mana here. Alright, we'll buff our guy, go for an attack. This is the same amount of damage as playing Rancor. It keeps Rancor secret. Oh, Snuff Out. Do they have these? Nope, just Snuff Out. Gotcha. Alright, so same amount of damage, more mana efficient. Alright, we find land. And I think we can just continue with the plan here. So we'll attack. We put our opponent to 1. Alright. Do they find the Edict effect? Preordain. That's not a great start. We'll see. Alright, so opponent bottom 2 cards with the Preordain. Plays the Sneak as a blocker. They're tapped out mana-wise. We can simply resolve the Rancor now. Attack for win. So... in we go. Alright, so I found this list online here. It's called Storm on MTG Goldfish. We saw Snuff Out, but also our opponent played Preordain, and Preordain's not in this particular list. Looks like they have a lot of ritual effects to generate mana, and then they just look to storm the battlefield with some creatures. No real creatures of note here. No creatures with like an edict effect or anything. In this particular sideboard, there there isn't any edict effects. There's Arms of Hadir, which gives all creatures -2/-2 until end of turn. It is sorcery speed. So that's something to keep in mind, but I think we're fine. So with sideboarding, I'm going to bring in 3 Young Wolf just in case our opponent has edict effects. I'm going to take out 2 Cartouche and 1 Rancor. Although there's the sweeper effect, I think Trample is going to be semi-important in this matchup and more important than flying. Alright, so we see this hand on the draw. I think this is a pretty reasonable keep. Excuse me. So we have 2 draws to naturally draw a mana. We also have Commune to help fix that sort of stuff. And Ethereal Armors and Armadillo Cloak are going to be extremely powerful here. Alright, we find a guy. Let's kick it off with this guy. Alright, opponent Evolving Wilds. Activated end step. Now he's preordaining 1 top, 1 bottom. And our opponents actually missed their land drop here. Let's go ahead and Commune. I think we take Cave, even though we can't really resolve too much else this turn. Attack. It guarantees us like hitting our creatures in the future. Probably taking out Ram through instead of one of the cartouches would have been arguable as well. Okay, great. So we find our forest. So here we can play a Bogle. So this Bogle will be Edict Fodder. Play an Ethereal Armor. And now we'll attack. So at this point, our opponent could still neg to the board at, I think it was 4 mana. Okay, cool. They're spending blue mana on Preordain. That's really good for us. All we have to do, though, is fade 1 turn. Then we get Ethereal Armor down, and our guy survives through it, right? I think maybe I want to be a little bit tricky here. Alright, let's go for extra style points. We'll play 1 more Bogle. We will now Ethereal Armor off the side to this secondary Bogle. This might look strange, but if they do neg to the board, I don't want to lose 2 creatures into an edict effect, I guess. Okay. Opponent concedes that because they're behind on tempo. It's possibly right to go in on the 1 creature, particularly with a trample effect in hand. We're like really far ahead though. And when you're really far ahead, you want to think of the worst case scenario. And you want to really make sure that worst case scenario doesn't beat you, right? Like in spots like that, that's where you start thinking of all the obscure cards that you wouldn't normally play around, and you start playing around them. I know a neg 2 effect isn't too obscure. It's pretty straightforward. I think the point has merit. Merit though, even if I didn't explain it super well in this instance. Yeah, so I found probably more likely the deck our opponent was playing. This particular one does not have access to Evolving Wilds. However, it does have Preordain in it, and it has creatures like Faeries here. Same similar like creature suite. Additionally, we should keep in mind, on top of Arms to Hadir, giving neg 2 for 4 mana, there's also Suffocating Fumes, giving neg 1 for 3 mana. Alright, so we are now back for match number 4 here. I'm going to keep this hand. We won the die roll versus Diddler DDR. Never mind, we are not on the play, we're on the draw. I know what's going on here. I wasn't looking at a deck as we found the match or anything. Alright, so opponent plays Unblockable Guy, attacks. Here's the Ninjutsu, Ninja of Deep Hours. So we're versing a Ninja variant deck. Abundant Growth is a decent draw. Let's play our planes. I don't think it makes a huge difference. Alright, so opponent plays out 2 more Slither Blades. Slither Blades? Yeah. Attacks with Ninja. We do not block in this spot. However, the upside here is our opponent is mostly tapped out, right? I think we Utopia for blue here. We'll go ahead and cast our cartouche, see what response that provokes, if any. Alright, so that one resolves. Now we'll do the Solidarity cartouche. Here's the Force Spike. I always have it. A creature has flying and also can't be blocked by flyers. That added text that's always there, right? Opponent of 1 mind, 2 of them during his turn. I mean, this is okay. Hopefully we can resolve Ancestral Mask. There's pretty reasonable likelihood our opponent's holding a counterspell though. And I think if we can't resolve auras in this next turn, our opponent is officially the beatdown and we need to be a bit more defensive. Oh, thank you. I love to see that. Alright, Abundant Growth. Draw trigger. Super lame. Alright, we'll play out our Ancestral Mask. We'll see if this gets countered. It does not. Okay, let's just attack. This is fine. We are now all of a sudden winning the race. Alright, so we get that one through. We'll try to resolve our Bogle here. Maybe Spellstarter Sprite. Okay, yeah. So they were slow rolling the Spellstarter Sprite. I was going to use that to block the ninja. Alright, so we're facing 5 damage here on 12 life, virtual 7. They could do ninjutsu antics. Yep, so Moon Circuit Hacker coming in for the Sprite. And 2 card draw triggers for our opponent, putting them up to 8 cards potentially. Alright, so our opponent can play... Oh, our opponent's Moon Circuit Hacker has buffed our Ancestral Mask, so now we have lethal damage. So this is pretty interesting. We can potentially ram through a chump blocker. Alright, so that Spellstarter Sprite has been sorcery speeded. First things first, we'll play our Ledgewalker out. No counters from the opponent. Alright, I guess we'll now go for ram through and see what they do. If they have the second Spellstarter Sprite, it can be countered in response. Snap. Returning it to their hand. Oh, and then playing it to counter the ram through? No? Okay, so not countering the ram through. Interesting. Alright, so if we block a ninja with the Ledgewalker, like chump blocks here from the opponent, our opponent does have 6 damage on board. If we manage to block 1 creature though, I guess it would be Moon Circuit Hacker. All of a sudden we're fine. If ninjutsu 1 creature, we're fine. Our opponent could also chump block our next attack. Alright, so he ninjutsu's 1 creature, ninjutsu's 2 creatures. Alright, well we couldn't beat that one. That's fine. Alright, so this is the matchup that we have Scattershot Archer for. We're going to be bringing it in force. Going to be taking out 2 Cartouche of Knowledge and a Ram through. So I think Ram through we saw there, it was very awkward fight mechanic wise. Our opponent bounced the creature and we lost the effect. And with the Cartouche of Knowledge and the flying, I don't think flying is that much of an important stat here, given all our opponent's creatures have it. Would be nice to block. On the play, we want to be the beatdown though, right? So we're not planning on blocking. Woeful Hand. Much, well, a little bit better. Not that good, really. Guess we keep. Throw 1 Cave. We could probably mulligan to 5 there. It's just this is like a pretty weak one, right? The hand will be okay if we draw out of it, but it's not guaranteed. Also, we could just have a no lander or no creature hand and just mulligan to 4, and at 4 we're probably just losing. Alright, let's go ahead, resolve our cartouche. Of course, we're getting land flooded in a land heavy hand. Attacks. So with our opponent's Fairy, Scrides, 1 top, 1 bottom. Alright, so no ninjutsu for our opponent, just the 1 damage. Plays out the unblockable creature. Find Abundant Growth, that's a good find. You gotta be kidding me, man. That's so lame. Oh my god. Alright, so we get down our Bogle. We can't block either of our opponent's creatures. They make their land drop. And they decide not to attack on the ground. That's interesting. This thing's unblockable, so maybe they want to be blocking our guy. One mana off of activating Caves, so I think we go for the Rancor this turn. We'll attack with First Strike straight up. Maybe we hold off on Rancor. Alright, opponent end step plays the Spell Starter Sprite. So I guess holding off on Rancor hasn't made a difference here. Maybe in a future turn they're going to be completely tapped out though, and it will have been a reasonable move. Ninjutsu. Alright, there we go. Draw trigger, 6 cards in hand. They can play the Fairy. They don't play the Fairy. So if they got a null, I'm going to keep them honest and make them have it. There's the null. I mean, I don't think we get to like slow roll the Rancor there. We can active Cave and attack, but then with like only 1 mana up is a really good spot to be greedy, right? Oh, hell yeah. Speaking of being greedy, I will 100% trade 2 creatures for this ninja. Snap it back to hand if you want, opponent. I'll take the trade if not. Cool. It's a huge trade. Alright, opponent plays Fairy Seer, scry trigger. And that's 2 cards to the bottom. Oh my goodness. What a woeful hand we have. Like, what woeful draws we have had. Oh my freaking goodness. This is shocking. Still, we seem to be in it this game for some reason. Not sure why. No blocks from the opponent. Alright, here's Fairy Miscreant. Another Fairy Miscreant. They're just flooding the board with jump blockers, I guess. Our life total is really high. If we can resolve Trample, we probably win. Opponent attacks for 3. Also, they've missed out on a lot of points of damage during the game here. Yeah, okay. Opponent took like 6 years to play in a null there. We'll attack. The fact they haven't been ninjutsuing like these draw creatures in has been really good for us as well. They're 1 ninjutsu creature we got. Are they letting this through? Okay. No? Yeah. That's what I thought. I'm just going to throw it out here. If we drew a Scattershot Archer here, we would win the match on the spot. Assuming they're not slow rolling the counterspell in hand, we would 100% win. Why aren't you attacking with the Slitherblade? This makes no sense. What the hell? Commune. Alright, well, we find a few cards. I don't really think any of them are particularly impressive. Like, if Mask resolves, it wins the game on the spot. I think we Abundant Growth, maybe. Now let's just grab mask. No need to be too fancy. Alright, actual counterspell. So that's a good one to get out of our opponent's hand because Scattershot Archer is countered by that, but not by a null. Opponent attacking with 3 puts us to 7. Okay. Make him have it. Alright, Spell Starter Sprite for value. Opponent blocks with the Seer. 3 cards in hand. I guess there's probably an argument to holding the Ethereal Armor to hopefully play 2 spells next turn. We're now on 3. We need to win this attack. Alright, well, we just lose. Unfortunate. We did draw absolutely nothing for the first, like, 4 or 5 turns of the game. So, despite our opponent having very little in the tempo aspect that they normally have, it's very unfortunate. Alright, so match number 5 here. 5th and final, 2-2, playing for all of the biscuits. Lost the die roll, not a good start, versus Hira Aya. Oh, Haru. Opponent choosing to play first. We'll keep this hand. Could be a little bit slow mana-wise, but we have access to any color we want. Oh, God. If we can resolve Cartouche, that'd be nice. Second creature is also nice. If we can draw planes, that it's even better. Oh, it's the kitty cat. You got it, opponent. Another gate. Sure. Oh my God! All right, that's a pretty good way to start this one, right? Oh, I accidentally clicked through my attack step. Apologies, viewers. Squadron Hawk. I'm fine with this. So opponent puts 3 Squadron Hawks in hand. Sure. So I think we commune here first, and always it reverts to underneath my frickin' reveal cards and completely minusculed. Armadillo Cloak. I mean, that's just got to be the play, right? Grab Armadillo Cloak. Rancor. And sure, we'll attack with the Vigilance token. It could be removed by various stuff. Get all the damage through. That's nice. Keep the Hexproof guy back, because if they block and have an Edict effect, we don't want this happening, right? Alright, well, gate active on Kitty. Kitty attack for 5. Can chump block. So, Armadillo Cloak. Says, yeah, our creature's getting big. Attack for 9. Opponent trades off the Hawk token. Oh, Hawk with the token. 3 Hawks still in hand. Yeah, keep in mind we've got Trample and a lot of life gain here. More life gain than our opponent has with his gate active. So we're currently netting our opponent for 2 damage a turn. Don't mind if we do. We probably have more 1-mana white auras in our deck than what we do green auras. Yeah, attack for 10. It's alright. Oh, opponent plays Arms of Hater main deck, and they have the Chainer's Edict. Like, look at us just get absolutely blown out here. That is horrible. We do have the reload though, so I guess that's something. Alright, well, we lose to Diabolic Edict, but we get around another Arms of Hater, so that's something. Imagine, yeah, I mean, I guess it's good we sequenced our lands like the way we did last turn, or I would have played out the Scout and all of them would have been sacrificed. Opponent flashes back Chainer's Edict for 7 mana. Because that's reasonable. Okay, can we rip a creature deck? We can. All right, the game continues. I guess we could have both Rancors out then, but doesn't make a huge difference. It means we don't get to active Cave, though. Opponent can Squadron Hawk and, like, just block for days. Double Kitty active. Wow, 15. That's insane. I don't know if we're going to be able to beat this life gain. If we can ram through during our turn, though, that could be helpful. Alright, we'll concede because the opponent has actives and attacks for the win. Alright, well, I don't know my opponent's exact list here. It's got similarities to the Catgate deck. Usually we bring Flaring Pain in against the Catgate deck, but I guess my opponent doesn't have access to the Fog effect. It's all these Edict effects, so Flaring Pain can stay in the sideboard. We will be bringing in Young Wolf. I think we maybe keep our Rancor. It's really good to reset off of. Mask is like really good business. Yeah, I think 2 Cartouche of Knowledge is fine. We'll go with this. Like, sucks not being mana efficient as well, but I think that's the best we could do in that spot. Alright, we'll keep this hand. Bottom 1 Cave. Super weak to Diabolic Edict, but what can you do? Alright, naturally rip Cartouche of Solidarity. Don't mind if we do. It's a good one. Ethereal Armor. Alright, like, we're just off to the races here, apparently. Alright, opponent turn 2 Squadron Hawk. You don't mind seeing that. That's pretty boring turn 2. 1 Hawk to hand to not go over the hand cap. It's like semi-tempting to enchant the warrior token so we can attack. That's weak against Edict though, so let's just play smart. It's just a shame that like Hawk is going to block us out for a while here. Opponent takes the damage. It's a bit of a weird one. If we get like trample, we kill them. So I think they've misplayed that. I think we play to our trample, so we'll tap the white mana, even though if we get like another Cartouche, that would be something we'd want to play. Trample? Not trample. Bit lame. So I also think this is a reasonable attack. I don't know of any flash speed creatures from my opponent. They're likely going to chump block the scout, and then we get 1 damage off to the side with the warrior token. Maybe they got fog, like a white fog. Maybe I'm wrong. Okay, yeah. I thought it was a green card, but it's a white card. Alright, we probably killed ourselves to Diabolic Edict. That's a bit lame. Oh, wait. Alright, well, there's the Diabolic Edict. I mean, yeah, I didn't think they had fog. My bad. My bad. Completely fucked this shit up. I swear there's a green card with flashback that the other decks run, though. Alright, I'm just going to concede. It's not even worth it. One more turn. Opponent buffs the K. Cat starts attacking in. Guess it's not over yet. I mean, the fact they're holding up 2 mana and not playing Squadron Hawk out of hand almost certainly means that they have Diabolic Edict in hand. So maybe we should just stop wasting everyone's time and concede. Alright. What fruit does this bear? Young Wolf? Yeah, okay. Oh, Guardian Guild Pack. Protection from monocolors. So opponent like just looks to secure or something here. I guess they want to buff this guy and attack for the win, or buff flying and attack for the win. Yeah, I mean, like, we don't have much going on at this point. Like, we lost 4 cards to the graveyard, 5 cards to the graveyard, 5 for 1. Like, it's hard to come back from that, right? So opponent can just, like, activate gate twice. Or activate 2 gates, I should say. Big fat Stompy. He's attacking for Xaxes. What style? Alright, well, we're going to have a lot of trouble against that kind of deck anyway. There's not much that we can do about that. It's just the nature of the matchup and the game, really. I definitely think we punted the first matchup, though. That should have been a win. We missequenced and miskept in game 3. So we could have been 3-2, but we're not. With the deck, yeah, I think I'm still happy with the main deck. I don't think I want to mess with things. Cartouche seems to be supported pretty well from what I've seen so far, so we'll continue with that. With the sideboard, I mean, Scattershot Archer would have been really good if we drew it against our ninja opponent, but we did not. So we got beat down by a bunch of 1/1 Faeries, so that was a bit lame. Didn't come up against any burn, didn't come up against anything we'd want the returns for. My only argument would be, maybe if you're not happy with Return to Nature, maybe you can look at Standard Bearer then, and your mirror matchup's a little bit better, because Standard Bearer is a lot better than Return to Nature in the mirror. It's just this also interacts with an artifact matchup, and it also interacts with the graveyard, and I like the versatility of it. Well, I hope you all enjoyed the league today. As always, let me know what you think down below. If you enjoyed the content, want to see more like it, you know what to do. Have a good one. See you next time.